Beneath collapsing rafters, a forgotten Jaguar shape waited silently under decades of dust. When the cover lifted, oxidation scarred aluminum panels, and the once proud racer looked defeated.
Yet beneath ruin rested history, and the long journey to revive it began. The famous tail fin emerged clearer, whispering stories from legendary endurance races long ago.
Decades of neglect hardened every surface, aluminum pitted deeply by silent time.
The hood refused movement, bolts frozen stubbornly after years sealed by corrosion. Finally, the hood opened, revealing the straight-six engine locked in silent resistance.
Pistons refused rotation, confirming the engine had seized long before this discovery.
Still, the frame beneath carried unmistakable racing DNA, worth saving.
Hope flickered quietly as measurements began across the historic racing chassis.
The first bolts surrendered slowly, beginning careful dismantling of the legendary machine.
Aluminum panels lifted away gently, exposing structural scars hidden beneath racing skin.
Years of vibration had left cracks creeping along delicate aluminum body seams.
Suspension arms sagged tiredly, their bushings hardened like stone after long silence.
Even the steering rack carried stubborn stiffness, resisting every careful test movement.
Brake lines crumbled at touch, warning the racer had slept dangerously long.
Yet the chassis still promised strength, its bones built for relentless endurance racing.
Careful alignment tools revealed subtle bending along the rear racing frame section.
The discovery raised stakes, but skilled hands knew how steel could be persuaded. Slowly, the dismantled Jaguar transformed from relic into a challenging restoration mission. Every removed piece carried history, yet demanded patience before earning new life.
Aluminum body panels entered restoration, their scars slowly polished away by careful hands. Beneath grime, elegant racing curves returned, reminding everyone why the D-Type mattered. Yet the mechanical heart still waited silently, its secrets locked within seized steel.
Bolts cracked loose carefully as the engine disassembly finally began.
The cylinder head lifted, exposing carbon-hardened chambers untouched for decades.
Pistons sat frozen inside bores, trapped by corrosion and forgotten oil.
Patience and penetrating oil began loosening parts locked stubbornly by time.
Hours passed before the first piston finally surrendered and moved again.
Each recovered component hinted that the engine still deserved another racing breath.
Meanwhile, the chassis entered alignment, its racing geometry carefully corrected.
Heat and pressure guided the steel back toward its original racing posture.
Gradually, the Jaguar's skeleton straightened, regaining strength beneath silent workshop lights.
Fresh brake components arrived, faithful to the engineering of the 50s.
Slowly, the Jaguar gained structure again, piece by careful piece.
Attention returned to the engine block, awaiting deeper inspection.
Subtle scoring along cylinder walls hinted that deeper trouble still remained.
Precision machining restored smooth surfaces where pistons would soon move again.
New rings and bearings arrived, ready to bring the straight six alive again.
Crankshaft polishing followed, its journals gleaming under steady workshop lighting.
Carburetors disassembled carefully, revealing delicate mechanisms coated with old fuel residue.
Each component cleaned patiently, honoring the engineering legacy of British racing history.
The straight six slowly returned to life across the restoration bench. Torque wrenches clicked methodically as the legendary engine rebuilt itself piece by piece. Just then, the gearbox revealed unexpected damage hidden beneath aged casing.
Authentic racing transmission would require deeper rebuilding than anyone first expected.
Before continuing, remember this restoration story exists purely for creative storytelling and entertainment. All vehicles, locations, and events shown here are fictional creations, imagined for storytelling purposes.
Any resemblance to real cars or restoration projects remains entirely coincidental and unintended.
Now the story returns to the Jaguar, awaiting its carefully rebuilt racing transmission.
Precision gears meshed again, restoring the mechanical voice of endurance racing history.
The rebuilt gearbox returned to the chassis with quiet mechanical confidence.
Soon the straight six followed, settling proudly back into its racing cradle.
Fresh wiring restored the electrical nerves of the historic racer.
Fuel lines and carburetors reconnected, promising combustion once again.
Attention turned back toward aluminum body panels, awaiting final refinishing. Painters prepared iconic racing colors, honoring Jaguar's legendary endurance victories. Layer by careful layer, color returned to the elegant body lines.
White racing roundels followed, restoring the unmistakable identity of the D-Type.
Under bright lights, the Jaguar body shined again with historic racing pride.
Interior restoration began quietly, with careful leather craftsmanship.
The steering wheel regained polish, worn wood revealing renewed warmth.
Gauges cleaned and calibrated returned clarity to the cockpit instruments.
Finally, the painted body returned to meet the waiting chassis below.
Panels aligned perfectly, restoring the famous aerodynamic racing silhouette.
The Jaguar shape returned completely, graceful and unmistakably purposeful. Fluids filled quietly, while final mechanical checks confirmed readiness. At last, the ignition key turned for the first time in decades.
The straight six coughed once, then awakened with smooth, confident rhythm.
Oil pressure climbed steadily, confirming the engine's long-awaited revival.
Outside the workshop, sunlight welcomed the Jaguar back into the living world.
The car rolled forward carefully, wheels turning with renewed mechanical harmony.
Suspension settled gracefully, exactly as engineers intended 70 years ago.
The legendary tail fin sliced air again, proud symbol of endurance racing heritage. What once seemed forgotten now stood ready for another generation of admiration.
Craftsmanship, patience, and respect had quietly rewritten the fate of this machine.
The revived Jaguar rested calmly, a masterpiece reborn from silent neglect. Legends endure when careful hands protect the engineering stories hidden inside metal.
If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share for more restorations.